He is only 2.5 years old, but he is a real hero. This active Jack Russell Terrier puppy has helped to find and deactivate more than 300 highly explosive objects installed by the Russian occupants since the beginning of the Russian invasion to Ukraine. Welcome to the unique UA channel. Meet the dog named Patron, the most famous four-paw mine-sniffing dog of Ukraine. From the Ukrainian language, gun cartridge is the name which perfectly describes the professionalism of the dog, fast and very accurate. Everyone was sure that this hybrid and pretty dog would become a champion. Once the owner took the dog with him to work, and it turned out that Patron had skills for searching. This dog was brilliant at recognizing the explosives by their smell. It was how he became the irreplaceable sapper in the rescue team. The dog loves his job. Covered in armor every day, he goes in search of hidden mines and explosives. Thanks to his sensitive nose and light weight, only 4 kilograms, Patron finds the killing devices and saves the lives of the rescue team. If the weight put on the mine is less than 5 kilograms, sappers are safe. The mine doesn't explode. It is impossible to do the job of Patron by modern electronic mine searchers, as they react to metal, and actually, it is not always a sign of explosive devices. The explosives can be inside anything plastic, polythene or fabric. Besides, there are many cases when Russian occupants detonated ordinary things like toys, wallets, sticks, and so on. Without a dog sapper, it is impossible to find such dangerous surprises only by the cost of your own life, especially when a child or an ordinary person gets hold of it. The dog searches for the smell of explosives. As a result, even in war times, a dog can find explosive devices 3 to 5 times faster and more precisely than a person with a mine searcher.
With the beginning of the full-scale war, we have new heroes, new symbols. Each of them is a separate story of the unbroken spirit of our Ukraine, and that we will not stop till we get a victory. Even animals are on our side,
added Alexia Lukash while creating the mural in the honor of Patron. The contribution of the hero dog is so huge that Patron was honored with many of the most prestigious world and Ukrainian awards. Among them is the Medal for Loyal Service from the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, Palm Dog Award, the most prestigious award in the world, which is given to dogs, and Golden Paw from the Irish Sinological Center. The personal account of Patron on Instagram has more than 330,000 subscribers. Thousands of adults and children can follow the work and life of the dog hero. From the name of the dog, it is explained how to behave with dangerous devices, the algorithms of behavior in danger, and some news is covered as well. Recently, the mine-sniffing dog visited children who were in the hospital of Omat. The educationally entertaining meeting for little patients was organized, and how to protect themselves from explosive objects. Little patients also got ready for the meeting and welcomed the rescue team and Patron with colorful drawings.
Big heroes don't always have to be big in size. Believe in yourselves, our defenders, and our victory. Continue to play your part to bring the victory closer, and don't stop.
Inspire Ukrainian defenders.
She waited and believed that her owner would come back and feed her hug again. However, they never met again. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and like this video. This story of a dog named Rini is known by the symbolic name of Ukrainian Hachiko on the internet. On March 13, 2022, Russian invaders entered the small town of Makarov in the Kyiv region. Tatyana Zadorozniak and her dog Rini did not have time to evacuate from Makarov and came face to face with the war. The woman was waiting in her own house for her friend, together with whom she planned to get out of town. However, the war did not allow them to meet. A Russian soldier broke into Tatyana's house and took her to a nearby house, where he raped and severely beat her for several days. Even local people could not help the woman. Those who were able to leave had moved to safety, while the rest were hiding in basements. Tatyana was buried in the yard of the house, and the date of her death, March 15th, was written on the gravestone. Everyone learned about the tragic death of the poor woman except her faithful friend Rini. The animal does not know how to read the news. However, it knows how to wait, knows how to love and be a faithful friend. For a month, Rini did not leave her place, on the doorstep of the house. Neighbors tried to take the poor dog to their home, but she always came back, jumping over the fence and returning to her doorstep. She hardly ate anything. Rini was weak from hunger, could hardly move, and her ribs outlined her half-dead body. A woman named Nadezhda found out about Rini. The very next day, with only a picture of Rini, she went looking for her. Thanks to the friendly residents, Nadezhda managed to find the right house. Rini met the woman on her constant doorstep. When Nadezhda saw her, she couldn't restrain her emotions, sat down next to her, and cried. Then, for the first time in a long time, the dog was able to trust someone. She approached the woman and, like dew on the leaf, licked tears from her eyes. For several days Nadezhda went to the dog with goodies until finally Rini trusted her completely and she was able to take the dog home with her. Now Rini lives in love and peace. But how many pets were orphaned, how many were maimed, and how many died because of this goddamn war? Help the poor animals survive and find a new home. In the description of this video, we left links to charitable foundations that help animals and save their lives. Support them, if you have such an opportunity. Ukrainian fauna is known all over the world. And fortunately not only for its uniqueness but also for its combat and military training. Ukrainian geese have become a symbol of international biological weapon. Patriotic bomb-sniffing dogs help to clear territories liberated from invaders. And what are Ukrainian saboteur goats capable of? They are special operations forces of the armed forces of Ukraine that conduct intelligence-driven operations behind enemy lines. Sitting with binoculars in the bushes, goats track invaders and destroy entire battalions with explosive milk. We would like it to be so, but such lies only take place on Russian propaganda channels. And the story that happened in Zaporizhia region is a simple coincidence. Fortunately, nothing happened to the goat, but the Russian soldiers now have to recover from injuries for a very long time. In the occupied village of Konsky Rozhdary, during a combat mission, a Ukrainian goat with the call sign Zoryanka successfully neutralized several grenades. As a result, the Russian military suffered injuries of varying severity. This was reported by the main Directorate of Intelligence of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. The report says that tripwires were placed around the local hospital as perimeter security for about 40 Russian soldiers that were stationed there. A Ukrainian goat was chosen for the mission to neutralize the grenades. The representative of artiodactyls secretly entered the territory of the medical institution. Chaotic movements of the animal led to the detonation of several explosive devices. As a result of the chain reaction, the Russian invaders suffered shrapnel wounds. We hope that the goat will be awarded the title of Horned Hero of Ukraine for the successful completion of a combat mission. This case showed that even nature is against war. Stay with Ukraine until the victory. After February 24, 2022, the whole world finally understood who the Ukrainians were. They are good and brave people who help others in the most difficult situations. The war showed that even during rocket fire and bomb explosions, Ukrainians don't leave anyone in trouble, including their pets. But there were cases when it was the animals who became guardian angels for their owners. On that terrible night, the young woman Irina from Chernihiv for the first time during the war fell asleep normally on her cozy sofa. Terrible explosions were almost inaudible, the sirens were silent for several days, and most importantly, her family was by her side. But not only the people who were dear to her, were the main calming factor for the girl. That night Irina's dream was under the reliable protection of a dog named Lesko. The girl could not imagine her life without animals. Before the war, she had worked at the Center for Young Naturalists, and then moved to the Baramitsk Nature Park. Irina had several dogs, but Lesko spent the night with her that night. In the middle of the night, when the girl finally felt safe and was able to enjoy a good night's sleep, the dog woke her up. The girl was a little angry at first, but then the anger turned to fear when she looked into her pet's eyes and saw panic and danger in them. Irina had never seen Lesko behave like that. The dog was pulling his mistress out from under the blanket. At that time, Irina had already known that it was better to get up and take her pet outside for a walk than to refuse him. The girl quickly got up and left Lesko in the corridor. But as soon as she crossed the threshold of her room, she immediately heard the terrible noise of a flying plane overhead. Then it dropped a bomb near her house. The explosion, after which Irina thought it was the last minute of her life. In other rooms of the apartment, the relatives of the girl were sleeping, not knowing what horror had happened a few seconds ago. At such moments it seems that time has stopped. You are able to clearly see everything around you, call to mind the best moments of your life and remember the dearest people, whom you will probably not see anymore. A few seconds had passed after the explosion. The girl first rushed to her parents' room. They were injured, but, most importantly, they were alive. She helped her mother, who had been knocked down by a torn-off door during the explosion. If only the father could help to pull her out. But at this time he was suffering huge pain himself because of debris of collapsed walls and broken glass in his head. Overcoming her pain and weakness, Irina pulled her mother out from under the debris and together they ran out into the hallway. Irina found everything for bandaging in a nearby closet and gave her father first aid in the hope that he would hold out until the ambulance arrived. Then Irina saw her sister running out from the other room with her baby in her arms. At that exact moment, the young woman was thinking only about saving her child and was in such a deep shock that did not notice anything around her. Barefoot, Ariana's sister ran across the shattered glass, which dug into her feet. The last place Irina went was her room. Seeing the place where she had rested a few minutes ago in complete safety, the girl could not hold back her tears and began to cry. The sofa on which she had slept was smashed to pieces and covered with fragments of the wall. Windows were shattered, pieces of the doors and walls were everywhere, and the remaining walls were cracked. If it hadn't been for her guardian angel named Lesko, most likely the girl would be no more. Thank God, all those who were in the apartment had survived. As for anything else, as the girl herself says, we will rebuild our homes after the war. Today Irina urges everyone not to abandon their pets in trouble, especially during the war. They are part of your family, and today is the time when you need to stick together and support each other. This photo flew around the world just in a few hours. Not a lot of people know that this tired girl had almost no strength left. She had a broken finger, all the muscles in her body ached, because the animals were pulling her to all the sides for 3 hours till they reached the location of evacuation. It is shocking how maimed dogs in wheelchairs with injured paws and stitched backs managed to overcome that journey. 20-year-old Anastasia Taika with her husband Arthur Lee have evacuated 15 dogs, most of which are disabled, 5 cats, a chameleon, a turtle, a hamster and a spider from the occupied city of Irpin. A married couple works in animal protection and temporary care. They provide medical help and dog training, buy wheelchairs, and keep dogs till they find new owners.
Till the last moment, we planned to stay at home. We had a storage of food and water for us and for animals. When we heard gunfire and explosions, electricity, gas and water disappeared. We understood that we urgently had to save ourselves and our animals. To evacuate we had to walk a long distance, our dogs are wild and ill and it was clear that we wouldn't be able to take all of them.
Recollected Anastasia. Danger of evacuation was obvious, but they decided to take their chance anyway. At that time there were well-known situations when Russian occupants shot local people while they were trying to evacuate from the city. It was hard to imagine how a journey with that many animals could have ended. At first it was hard to move for the girl, as the dogs didn't want to walk, they were resisting. Big animals were turning over wheelchairs in which disabled dogs were. They had to lift them again and put the dogs back inside. Cats were sitting in a supermarket trolley. Some dogs were carried in arms, especially a disabled dog which scratched his paws to blood. The girl recollected a stranger called Valentine with gratitude. He helped to lead some dogs and a trolley with cats. Together they overcame a dangerous path to the bridge, where a lorry for animal evacuation was waiting.
Without him a journey would have taken about 5 hours.
Recollected the couple. The Ukrainian military helped volunteers a lot on the bridge.
Men from territory defense ran to us and asked, how can we help? Which animal to hold? Where to bring? They carried all of our dogs in arms and brought them to the lorry. I was leading only the most aggressive dogs. They wouldn't let anyone but me lead them. We were lucky, and at that time the evacuation was quiet. An hour later people were shot on the bridge by the Russians.
Said Nastia. Men from territory defense asked to take their dog called Druzhba, Friendship, as well. The volunteers are already looking for a new family for him. On their way volunteers lost 4 dogs, one of which was their own dog Zevs. That's why when they brought all other animals to Kyiv, Nastia and Arthur returned on foot to shattered and abandoned Irpin to find their dogs.
Animals are like children to me. You can't abandon children.
Said Nastia. Fortunately, that risky mission to save lost dogs was successful. They found Zevs and some other abandoned animals which the couple took with them. The photo of the heroic deed impressed people all over the world so much that Nastia received messages from people who wanted to take her dogs to their families. All the dogs from the photo found their new families and moved abroad to England, Croatia, Italy, France, Poland, Germany. Now the couple carries on their mission of saving injured and abandoned animals. They remind all the world that you always have to try and save your dearest animals as well as people in all circumstances.